So I got into coaching because when I was growing up, I had undiagnosed learning disabilities, undiagnosed epilepsy that presented as staring spells. Um, and so I graduated from high school not knowing my multiplication tables, not knowing how to tell time. I have working memory deficit. And so because these things were undiagnosed, I often got the messages directly and indirectly. You're a daydreamer, you're lazy, you don't have a work ethic. And so that was a struggle. But the other thing that was a struggle was both of my parents struggle with mental health issues, and we were poor. And so didn't have good feelings about myself. I didn't see much of a future for myself. But life has a way of changing, as it does. And so, so many wonderful things did happen to me. And at the age of 30, I had what I call a great curb appeal life. So I had a loving marriage. I had 2 children that I had so desperately wanted. I lived in a home that I never would have dreamt possible. And things were just really good. I was traveling, I had a lot of things. And I'd also had the opportunity to go to college as an adult. So I had done everything that Monique would be happy when and check those all off the list. And I recognized that I not only wasn't happy, I was very upset and ashamed that I wasn't happy and angry because if this wasn't the answer, I had no idea what was. And so one day I read a line in a book that really changed my life, and it put me on a 10-year journey of self-discovery. And in that 10 years, I put myself in therapy. I did a lot of personal development. I'm an addictive reader, so I literally read, hundreds, if not 1,000 books. And 10 years later, at 40, I didn't have as great a curb appeal life, but I had a real peace and real happiness and sense of self for the first time in my life. One day I was in the elementary school waiting for my son, and I heard this group of parents talking off to the side, and I knew these people, and everyone has struggles, but I knew no one was, going bankrupt or losing their child, and it was almost like a competition of who could be the most unhappiest, who had the most difficult, trying time, whose kid was giving them the most trouble. And it was just like a moment in time where I froze, and it was almost like a lightning bolt. I had this thought that my life's work was to help people. I feel like it is a privilege for me to do the work I do. I work 5 or 6 days a week, and almost every day that I work with clients, someone hugs me or says I helped them change their lives. Barely a week goes by that I don't get a thank you note from someone, either who has just finished a coaching engagement or a year later, and I can't believe I am where I am. I never thought I'd see myself, or several years later, or a client, sends me a text with such an amazing session. And I don't know many people that get that kind of feedback about their work consistently.